Alright, exit review on the Zowie EC2-CW. This copy, I put KLGM2s in. The scroll steps are actually nicely defined and well tensioned. They just sound rattly for some reason. Not sure why. You could probably fix that with some lube on the scroll wheel contact areas. Anyway, yeah, how's this mouse? Ultimately, it's pretty good, especially if I grip the mouse the way it wants to be gripped. It gets pretty comfy. It's one of those mice that I can use for a long period of time and really enjoy. And to some extent, it feels like my aim gets better. You know, the after the first hour or so, instead of kind of trailing off over time. So it's a nice mouse in that sense where my hand kind of melds to it with use. Um, I seem to perform pretty well with it. I don't know that it's necessarily in the competition for like the best shape for me, but it's certainly solid. The clicks, I would say, are solidly above average. Pretty good in an absolute scale of mice. I prefer the main clicks, for example, to the ones on my Fantech Aria. These are still good, again, but these have a little bit of feedback to them that the Zowie clicks have filtered out, and so these have a little bit less extraneous tactility to them. And yeah, they're just a little bit cleaner, I guess, in feel, which is nice. What else? The coating is really grippy, but as everybody else has mentioned, if you watch reviews on them, they pick up fingerprints and oil, unfortunately, and show it really aggressively. So I've got to actually go and clean this one, even though I did wipe it down before this video. But it took me a couple takes, so now it's oily again. What else? Main things with the mouse, if I grip it the way it wants to be gripped, like I said, it's comfy, and I play pretty well with it. The main thing with that is that the sensor orientation is clocked slightly off to the side for my mechanics, so in long horizontal flicks, my crosshair kind of ends up a little above or a little below where I'm aiming, depending on which direction I'm moving. And that hurts my accuracy in longer flicks. The outset, for comparison, because it's shorter back here, I'm able to get it twisted a little bit more into my grip in the kind of pocket of my thumb, and the sensor orientation is correct, and I don't have any issues with that from a mechanical standpoint. With the EC, if I try to twist it that way, this part here at the bottom left of the hump fights against this kind of fleshy area at the base of my thumb, and it wants to resist being twisted into that orientation. The other part is that if I twist it that little bit extra in this area, what happens is my ring finger or my pinky, instead of sitting in this nice little divot there, it gets kind of pushed forward to where it ends up wanting to sit out on this bump along with my ring finger. So they start competing for space here and kind of fighting with each other. So those two things together, the fighting here and fighting here, makes the gripping this mouse this way kind of distracting and a little bit annoying over time, instead of disappearing into my hand. So it's in that way it's similar to what I described with the G Pro video, about how I'm always thinking about my grip if I'm trying to keep the sensor oriented correctly. Now again, if I just use it the way it wants to be used, not an issue. But I just have to dial in some rotation and raw accel or do something to compensate for that. Honestly, the main thing with this mouse is just I have no emotional connection to this shape. I didn't grow up using the EC2. It's not a some type of legendary benchmark Hall of Fame shape to me in my personal experience. I understand that it is for a lot of other people, but I don't feel a need to have one. I don't have a strong emotional connection or nostalgia for it. So it's a nice shape. It works pretty well for me, but I feel that the Outset works a bit better in pretty much every way. The buttons are better, the weight is lighter, the coating is equally grippy, but doesn't show fingerprints and oil the same way. Again, the shape works a little bit better for me mechanically, and I don't have issues with ring and pinky finger cramping against each other. Yeah, so, there's just this mouse for me mostly makes this mouse obsolete in terms of needing to keep it in my collection. So I'm going to pass it along to its next owner, and hopefully they enjoy it, and hopefully they're a big EC2 fan, and they get a lot of value out of this copy. I will say, I definitely enjoyed the charging dock. I thought the battery life was a pleasant surprise with this mouse for the time I did spend using it. And in general, it's a great mouse. And if you like it, the good part about this design with using all the same switch type and the optical encoder is you'll be able to keep it running for years and years and years and years. So lots to like with the mouse, just not one I need to have in my collection. And hopefully the new owner gets a lot of enjoyment out of it. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.